Anniversary of Icapp, the inaugural meeting of which was held a decade ago in September 2000 in Manila. I'm delighted to be here representing Malaysia, not only as head of government, but also as president of the leading component party of the ruling coalition in my country. It is heartening to note that 317 Asian political parties from 52 countries and one territory are able to participate in Icapp this year. Certainly, the wealth of ideas and experiences coming from the widely varying political parties here represented will make for an interesting meeting of minds. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this General Assembly of Icapp is Asia's quest for a better tomorrow, which is timely and reflective of Asia's ongoing transformation into the fastest growing region in the world. The forces of globalization and the emergence of China and India as economic juggernauts have changed the way the world views Asia, and indeed, how Asia views itself. Social attitudes and mindsets have been altered, along with shifting worldviews and political perspective, exacerbated by the feverish pace with which technology has engulfed the world. Suddenly, every man on the street has an opportunity to broadcast their views and assessment on matters which were previously the exclusive realm of government and authorities. Suddenly, the space for social commentary is wide open and is used and even abused beyond the limits of common decency and the boundaries of law. I often say that in politics today, it is no longer, as the saying goes, business as usual, but in fact it is business unusual. That being the case, no political party worth its salt can afford to ignore these changes that are affecting the very people whom they exist to serve. Whether a political party stands for traditional views or for unfettered modernism, whether they exist to fight for a specific ideology or to struggle for a cause, the changes affecting society are obviously too important to ignore. The political landscape has altered so radically, and whether we like it or not, we have to take cognizance so that as a political party, we continue to remain relevant. A cursory glance at not too distant history will show us that many political parties, especially in the context of a vibrant political democracy, which at the height of their dominance seemed unassailable, but had their fortunes reversed, leading to eventual demise, simply because they failed to be attuned with the changing times. It has been quite often said that power is a heavy drug. It can cause, among others, three things. It can cause inertia, it can cause amnesia, and even induce delusions. A political party, long in power, often suffers from these ailments. Inertia, in a sense, that it does not move forward, remaining static, rather complacent, and resistant to change, and has become too comfortable with its own achievements. Amnesia in that it forgets the original purpose for which it was formed, and the struggle or cause it is supposed to embody. And the fire in the belly has long gone. And it suffers delusions in thinking that its political support base is permanent and unchanging, and in doing so, falsely believing that it will forever remain in power. And just because a party that was responsible to achieve freedom for the nation does not mean it will forever be in power unless the party itself changes with the times. Many legacy political parties are plagued with these illnesses, which lead to additional complications of internal bickering and power struggles within the party hierarchy, which more often than not irrevocably damage the party. The end result is a loss of faith of the electorates and party grassroots, which cause them to shift their support to alternative political forces that better serve their needs. In the end, the once seemingly unassailable political party suddenly finds itself collapsing under the weight of its own internal issues and maladies, and by then, nothing short of miracle can reverse this downward spiral. Ladies and gentlemen, I raise this point today because I feel it is absolutely critical for any political party to understand the need to change. Not change just for the sake of changing, but change to better serve the needs of the party stakeholders. Transformation in the name of greater effectiveness and relevance. Reinvention to remain contemporary and dynamic. Consonant with the theme of this conference, emphasizing Asia's quest for a better tomorrow, political parties must begin now to understand that a better tomorrow is founded on an improved political environment in the region. A prerequisite towards the end must be the strengthening of the political process. There has to be greater engagement with the public to understand their needs and wants in order for political parties to best serve their constituents. Ultimately, contemporary trends indicate that there is an overwhelming demand for the masses for inclusion and participation in the political process and in nation building. A political party that understands these are the new rules of political engagement is a party of the future. In Malaysia, the ruling political coalition understands this need to change the way we engage our stakeholders, primarily the public at large. We've had good times. We've also had some bumps along the way, not the least of which were the electoral setbacks of the general elections of March 2008. It was certainly a sobering wake-up call. But in 2 years since then, in particular the last 18 months, the ruling coalition as a whole has undergone significant transformation, and the 13 political parties that make up the coalition have made great strides in changing and winning back the affections of the people. Today, the ruling coalition, Barisan Nasional or National Front, of which I am the chairman, continues to reinvent itself to suit changing times. Most recently, we passed amendments that allowed for direct admissions into the coalition so as to broaden our support base and allow the inclusion of any body or organization not necessarily interested in formally joining any of the 13 political parties in the coalition. Instantly, NGOs and non-profit organizations express a keen interest to work with us on a path towards greater progress and development for the country. Within my own political party, UMNO, of which I am the president, we passed historic amendments of the party constitution last year to allow for greater participation of party members at all levels in voting the ruling party's leadership. Of course, it exposes us to greater scrutiny in terms of our work and certainly puts party leaders, including myself, at substantial political risk. But it is our belief that our political support must be and should be conditional on our ability to perform well and our ability to convince the people to support us. And by this mechanism, we will be judged by our own party members who can see for themselves whether we have earned our place as leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, aside from these internal adjustments to accommodate the changing times, the most important thing a political party must remember, and as I said earlier, is the constant and continuous engagement with the people. It is this singular element that will be the foremost in the minds of the public when they decide whether or not a political party is relevant to them. Real issues about their next paycheck, where is it coming from? How will they put food on the table? How do they pay for their children's education? Such issues are extremely important concerns for the average citizen. They care far less about the jockeying for positions in the political circles than they do about the pothole on the street outside their home that could damage their cars, or about the broken bridge over a nearby river that would cause problems for them to commute to school and work.